Fantastic. As I wait for Facebook to do its thing, I am here. Elaine Marolakos Edelson here with Astrology Mojo and Transformational Astrology. I want to help you get your mojo back. It is a beautiful, cloudy, almost rainy day here in Sedona, and I hope you are having a spectacular time no matter what you're doing. We're talking about Mars today. Mars. Let me get you a little image of Mars. There it is. Mars. And your motivation. Now remember, the planets don't make you do anything. We live in a cooperation with our cosmos. When the planets make a move, you feel it. And when you make a move, the planets reflect that. It's like a mirror on the cosmic wall. So we are entering into a couple of exciting phases. Now, people run and scream when they hear that Mercury is going retrograde. Oh, stop. Oh, behave. It's okay. It can actually be a lot of fun. Dean has joined us. Hooray. Hooray for Dean to be here. Okay. What I want to do is just get really focused on how you are finding motivation. You know, an interesting thing happened for me, awarenesses, and we're going to talk more about Mercury in retrograde, especially on Friday. I'll be back on Friday to talk about the Mercury in retrograde. As we are already in the pre-phase, it's already beginning. I had trouble getting online today. Oh, thank you, sweetie. Love of my life, Dean is. Okay, so not only are we talking about Mars, we're going to talk about Mars moving into the sign, the constellation of Pisces, and that's coming up on November 15th through December 31st. Now, a lot of times people will ask me, hey, Elaine, how come things keep repeating in my life? Well, there's a whole, if I had the scroll, I'd tell you why in a personal private reading. But in essence, ultimately, everything you do is in a cycle. You cycle through feelings, through thoughts, through actions, or you don't, and then they repeat themselves. And so, there's that old saying that what you resist persists, because it's constantly the universe tapping you on the shoulder to get your attention. So first you got to ask yourself, wow, some people just wake up suddenly and they're 35 or they're 50 or they're 90 or whatever. And they say, hey, is this my life? Like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And what else could I be doing? I had an interesting conversation with a dear friend of mine this morning, and she's not sure she's happy in her life, not with her family, but with her career. And so we talked about, well, where's your motivation? What propels you? Is it the dollar sign? Is it feeling joy? Is it your contribution to the world? Is it a combination of these things? And there's no judgment on any of it. So when you think about what really motivates you, let me come full circle to the thing that happened to me this past week. My husband was out of town. And it was a very interesting process that I went through. We are together all the time. We work together, we play together, we eat together, we cook together. I mean, we are joined at the hip, as they say. And so he went out for about 7 days or so. He was out for a couple of business trips. And I thought, yeah, alone time, can't wait, because I love my alone time, can't wait to have it and, find my rhythm in it. So the first day he was gone, I was thoroughly depressed. And it felt like, oh my gosh, what if he never came back? And this is my life. I'd be so lonely. And I don't get lonely. So it was the separation, right? It was an odd thing. Child's out of the house, it's me and the dog, and there's nothing. It's very quiet in the house. So then day 2, it was, maybe I'll just, do what I want to do when I feel like doing it. And, looking around like I needed somebody's permission. Yeah, okay, that's okay. And then day 3, I finally got into my own rhythm and did my own thing. And I was telling a friend of mine, what I realized? That Dean is my motivator. that after being with him for so long, I am self-competitive, so I can motivate myself that way. But we work together, so there's a lot of motivation, and his enthusiasm, is contagious. So, and that's what I realized. And I thought, oh, I have to do a talk about that, because sometimes we get stuck in a groove where we don't realize what's happening and the patterns that we're setting up. So I have to find a way and it didn't take long for me to realize that, and then for me to start self-motivating by not adhering to someone else's agenda, even if it's a mutual goal that you have, and by working on your own joy or compassion, or what you want to do, what really gets you going, what's your passion. Mars is the planet, let me show it to you again. Mars is the planet that represents action, sometimes aggression, sex, spontaneity, and gusto. On the downside, it's passive aggressiveness, or it's war, or it's combative energy. And for the body, it's the blood system, the head and the eyes, sometimes the ears. And it's how you perceive right before you act, what motivates you, what gets your get up and go to get up and go. And once you understand where it is you're going, you can go with much more gusto and with enthusiasm and a whole plan behind you to see the results that you want to get. Now, for some of my clients, when they book a reading, and by the way, you can click on if you're on a computer, the blue button that says book now for a full breakthrough session. And we go very deep, and there's a lot of processing that goes on, but there's a lot of pattern interrupts, we'll call it that. And I will help you break patterns so that you can literally stop spinning your wheels in the same circle over and over and over again, so that you can see results on whatever it is you want to go for. And so right now, for this one period of time, and I've said this before in different live events, that when a planet moves from one constellation to the next, the most intense time, well, there are two most intense times, and that is when the actual transition occurs that week. So when Mars moves into the sign of Pisces, which is almost a contradiction because Pisces is a water sign, and Mars loves to act. So we're going to talk about how does Mars act in a water sign when it's a fire sign, and Mars represents Aries and wants to get going and explode and, we're here, let's do it, let's get it done, and then move on to the next thing, like a trailblazer. But from November 15th through December 31st, Mars will be in the sign of Pisces. Now, when I would say around November 10th-ish through the 20th, that 10-day period, and then again around December 25th, around Christmas time, through a few days into the new year, that when Mars moves in and out of the constellation Pisces, you're going to feel that the most, especially if you are a Pisces rising sign, a Pisces moon sign, or you were born with Mars in the sign of Pisces. And so for, Mars, every planet goes through a cycle and a pattern, and that's what represents your action. So when you look at life, and again, getting back to that original question where some people said, why do I keep going over the same thing over and over again? Well, then I would look at, and you can look at too, look back on your calendars. And the very last time that Mars, let me get my notes. The very last time that Mars was in the sign of Pisces was December 19th through January 27th of the year 2017. And so what's interesting is to look back to see what was going on in my life around that time, because the cycles will show themselves. You can go to the next level always and go to the next stage, But when you look back a little bit through your calendars, you talk with family and friends, hey, what was that thing we did? Oh, yeah. And you can see the patterns repeating themselves. It's pretty evident. And I, as a Capricorn rising, love history. And I love to go back and see what's the history of your pattern. And how can we break that pattern by creating a new road and an inroad toward the thing that gives you the most joy. So now Mars, again, represents fire, spontaneity, aggression, assertiveness, sex, sensuality, also that impulsive action to get up and get something done, or sports or athletic energy, and sometimes war. I mean, it does represent war, but we're not talking about war today. But with Mars in Pisces, now Pisces is a dreamy sign. It's water. It disappears. It's like the silverfish swimming in schools in the ocean. Suddenly when the sun hits them, you see them, and then you don't. So how do you act? What's the big deal when Mars moves into Pisces? Pisces is all about, on the upside, or let's do the downside first, the illusion, where you pretend something is what it isn't, and that doesn't help you, or addiction, or some form of obsession or escapism. And that can be drugs, or it could be binge watching TV and not getting your work done. Or it can be just pretending that things are not, that the building's not on fire, but isn't the architecture beautiful? That's Pisces. But at the same time, on the upside, there's poetry, there's idealism, there's metaphysics, there's that sense of spiritual connection. And so when Mars, the action energy, moves into a metaphysical sign like Pisces, you might find yourself being more drawn to, hi, Christine, you might find yourself being more drawn to metaphysical practices, getting a reading, or meditating more, or doing yoga, and because Neptune guides Pisces, you might be more prone to want to ride a horse, because of the horse energy is very mystical. And or because of Mars, suddenly you want to, buy a car. Or you might be interested in getting your car fixed. Or you might be thinking, how can I work out differently? Maybe I'll do yoga or Tai Chi instead of aerobics or, high interval training. And so the alteration of your feelings with Mars in Pisces, and it's even more impactful if you were born with a Mars in Pisces, movies and music and poetry and things that help you to feel magical, watching Harry Potter series or Lord of the Rings, it might motivate you to do something different in your life. So whenever Mars is in a different constellation, hence a different sign, that means, well, it doesn't mean that the planet's doing something to you, but what it does mean is that you're ready to experience a different way of motivation. And so that can be since we're entering into the phase of Mars in Pisces, November 15th through December 31st. And remember to add a few days on either side for that shift to occur when you start to get that dreamy sensation, or you start to actually remember your dreams more. And maybe it prompts you to say, you know what, I think I need to do something differently. I've had a particular workout routine. It's not working. I need to alter that. I need to incorporate something different. So when you look at what motivates you, you want to make sure that you are not motivated by anger, fueled by rage, or any kind of chemical that makes you feel comfortable when you take it. Like if you drink a lot of wine because you're awkward in social situations. Here comes Thanksgiving in America. And here comes Christmas in America and all over the world. And you say, oh yeah, I'll just have another. And then you relax. So you want to watch out for the illusion of that feeling that says, I can I can feel better without the thing. My husband and I just watched A Star is Born. I saw it for the second time. It was the first time for him. And I sobbed even harder the second time. Christine says she loves horses. You're a Sag. Well, you always have to keep moving anyway because you're a Sag, right? And so that idea of music really healing the vibe in your body. It's a form of expression, of course, but not just the music itself, the lyrics, but what happens when you chant. Chanting is a Piscean type of energy because it's metaphysical and it deals more with the arcane or the spiritual arts. So what happens when you pray more, when you meditate more, when you chant, when you listen to music that literally vibrates in your body? Isochronic tones, you can find them on YouTube. And it really does help to use headphones when you listen to isochronic tones, theta waves, also the binaural beats. So you might see these things listed on YouTube. But when you actually wear headphones, it works better. And so doing some kind of healing energy work during this Mars and Pisces phase is going to help you motivate yourself even more. Now, Carl Jung, famous psychologist, did something once that was really profound. And he was kind of stuck in his life. He didn't know where he was going to go next or what he was going to focus on or what he was going to do. So he held up in a room, in a small room or apartment for 3 days. And all he did was play with clay because he had this thing. He couldn't even put logic to it. It was, I just need to do this thing. And he molded the clay and he played with it. And 3 days later, he came out of that room and that very unusual experience. And that's when he came up with his collective unconsciousness theory that put him on the map in our history. And so it's really important that you look at Mars as your motivation, the way you act. And again, it's not the planet doing it to you. Remember that it's a cooperation. So I look at what the planets are doing in the universe and in what sign they enter. And that tells me what you're ready for because you, as an individual, are making a transition. And we hope that you're making a transition from something to something because you are an energetic being. You're constantly moving. You're constantly changing. You can't stay still. Even if you hid in the closet, karma would find you. Something would find you and you'd be motivated to do something else. And so I think it's important. Oh, Christine, do you know your rising sign? You're a Sag. So, this is interesting, the card that I'm pulling, and I've pulled it before, and it is called polarity. And polarity is when, and that's almost like an exact definition of Mars and Pisces. Polarity is the opposites, right? What you draw to you because of what you're resonating. What is your energy doing? And so energy doesn't have to be energetic, right? It doesn't have to be meaning that you're constantly going and moving. Energy is always moving, but sometimes you could be more laid back, and then suddenly you have this feeling of, I got to get something done. I got to get up. I'm done doing, nothing or reading or paperwork. Now I have to go do something else. And as you start to motivate yourself to do something else, it helps to have a plan of action so that you can move forward with the thing that really helps you to structure your life, to organize it, to get the results that you want, whether it's wealth, health, passion, or purpose. And I also when I look at what is motivating me or where's my lack of motivation in my life, I look at all aspects, the holistic viewpoint. So Mars dealing with the blood. Am I anemic if I'm tired? Or am I getting enough healthy food? And, also with my energy levels, are they waning? Are they peaking and then falling at certain times? Do I have a cortisol issue? That's actually, that would be a Venus thing, and we're in a Venus retrograde. So you want to examine all these different levels of health and what could help to motivate you. Libra rising. So you are, your entire chart, Christine, is guided by, I would say, your motivation is the idea of, where can I create harmony by understanding what is my disharmony? And so it's a Venus chart. So you have an entire Venus chart. And so for people who really want to be doing something more compassionate, more making more of a contribution in the world, then it's important to look at your holistic picture. Are you eating what's right for your body? Are you taking supplements that really help you? Are you cutting back on the things that stop you, that, too much sugar or alcohol or too many carbs that really don't serve you, that can drag the body down? And then from there, Mars, as a motivator, as the symbol of motivation, says, okay, where do you want to rev your engines? What juices you? Where do you want to put your time and energy and focus? And with Mars in Pisces, definitely incorporate some sort of movie theme week, science fiction week, romance week. So as you are drawn to different images, your brain, via neurology, your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real or imagined. Okay, so that's a real thing. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real or imagined. Hi, Vicki. And, well, we're going to talk about more motivation, especially for the Libra rising, since we have a parade today of Libra risings. And I have another Libra rising who said she was going to be tuning in today. So when you are looking at movies or images and maybe you're feeling frustrated. Remember, that's a Mars that's represented by a Mars energy thing. So where do you want to put that energy? Maybe you need to be having sex. I mean, if you are consensual, age and all that. Maybe you need to be moving your energy by working out and not just sitting or pretending to work out. I knew someone who said, oh yeah, I work out. And then she would go to the gym, spend 10 minutes at the gym, and then go out to a diner after with her friends because she was like, yeah, I worked out. But you've got to find out what's really helping you to feel energy, the movement, and by changing your frequency and resisting at the same time, this contradiction that we sometimes have is like, yeah, I got that pile of thing on my desk. I got to get to it. I'll do it later. I'll do one file and then I'll go do this over here. I have to see what's going on in the news or, what's going on in The View. There's a feud happening on The View. So sometimes we can get distracted with a Mars energy, but Mars in Pisces represents how you can ease into a more metaphysical view of the world and to get that sense of harmony back, especially for you Libra rising people. You want to get that harmony back. And if you are feeling resistant, if you're feeling complacent, if you're feeling like you're sitting on something that's so uncomfortable and you got to get up, your body starts to do this thing. People talk about spring fever, which is an actual thing. You will feel like you have a fever, and there's, when winter is over and the buds start to, pop up through the earth, you are connected to everything on this earth, all the energy. So you're feeling that. And so when Mars moves into a different sign, it's kind of like a mini version of spring fever. But depending on the sign and what it represents, tells you what you're ready to focus on next and where you're ready to put your energy. So you need something that really helps to ground you as much as it helps to release the past. Neptune, which guides Pisces, is a karmic energy. So right now with Mars entering into Neptune on November 15th, remember, back it up a few days because that's when you're going to feel it the most, is when a planet enters or exits a constellation. There's going to be some past life information that comes up. There's going to be a need to let go of something old. And the old can be your attitude, your stubborn resistance to making a change or hearing the truth. Sometimes we just don't want to hear it. if someone says, well, I'm afraid you're going to have to cut out that chocolate cake because otherwise working out 5 days a week is not going to equal your result. And you're like, damn, but if I work out, it should compensate for, so we have what's called cognitive dissonance, and it helps us to, well, I don't know if it helps us, but it puts us in a place of seeing things the way we want to. So we will attract things that support our belief system and go, see, if I work out 5 days a week and I eat that chocolate cake, it's okay because I'm working out. But if you're not seeing the results you want, let's clear the veil and the illusion, Pisces, and see what it is. What is the truth? That it's not working out the way you want to. That means you need to do something different, or to sometimes not do. Sometimes people who are have too much adrenal fatigue are working out, and what they really need to do is to stop working out and to heal their adrenals and their cortisol levels. And so you have to really, become your own personal assistant and find out and list things and say, what's the one thing I really feel is missing in my life? What's the one thing I've been doing that's not working? So that you can stop doing that thing and replace it with something new. Now, because we're entering Mars in Pisces, I would highly recommend meditation as a tool. Get on YouTube and look for those isochronic tones, theta waves, binaural beats. In fact, Dean, if you're listening, we have the Bodhi Brainstorm link. Let me put that up. And this is something I created with theta waves and binaural beats, and it can help you. If you go to this link, this brainstorm that you listen to for 10, 15 minutes a day, not before bed though, I don't recommend it, but it helps you to cycle through different wavelengths of energy. So it helps to clear away the debris, the clutter, the chatter in your brain that stops you. Oh, there you go. Dean put it up. Thanks, sweetie. So that you can remove resistance to the thing that you need to heal. And that's what it comes down to. I mean, seriously, if you've got something going on in your life that you're not seeing results with, you have to ask yourself, let me be clear. Let me be more objective about this. And with Mars and Pisces, sometimes it's going about it in a different way. It's getting a reading with me. Click on the blue Book Now button, or it's in the thread Dean posted, to get a full breakthrough session. And it's powerful. It comes with work and an exercise to do prior to open up your psyche. And then after the session, there's follow-up. So it's actually a program, not just a reading. And it helps you to go deep and to go wide and to understand what is motivating you and why you're going in circles and how you can progress if you're willing to let go of the resistance. Because the resistance is the thing that will stop you in a heartbeat every single time. I'm going to pull another card for everyone watching today. Even if this is a replay and you're watching this, the vibration still carries through. So thank you for watching, even if this is a replay. And if you say hello and this is on a replay and I don't respond, hello. Hello from now. All right. So what can help remove resistance is the focus so that you can get more motivated. And I'm going to pull a card for the group. To remove resistance. What can help with that? Well, of course, this is a beautiful card for that. And that is, awareness. Awareness removes resistance. I mean, it doesn't get any simpler than that. So if you're getting frustrated over something and you're not sure why, and you're not sure, well, I did the, steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I got to but I'm still, when that's happening, then it's time to go inside through meditation, through the Bodhi Brainstorm link, through understanding how to get out of your own way. Sometimes we think we have the answer. We go, no, I did that. Yeah, it didn't work. Okay, you did it 10 years ago and you were a different person. Maybe it'll work now. Maybe you can stop resisting and just start allowing and say to the universe, I now allow what is beneficial to enter my life right now in a clear, calm, healthy way. You want those parameters. I now allow what is beneficial to enter my life right now in a clear, calm, healthy way. Spirit has your back because you are spirit. that you're connected to the spirit. It's all one thing, even though we see it as separate, even though we see the boundaries with the, the delineation of the lines on the person's body or between you and the next person or the tree in the backyard. You think it's separate. It's not. It's all one energy. And so when there is dissension in the group, you feel it and you get frustrated. And then sometimes you start to question, am I doing the right thing? Well, and then you depending on who you are and how you think and how you process, you might think, well, I've done it and it should equal this result. And then it doesn't. And then you do it again. And then you do it again. And then you do it again. And then you hit your head against the wall and you say, well, I've done it. It doesn't work. Well, you've done it one way. So I want you to really be aware of how you're feeling, what you're thinking, and what's repetitive. Because the patterns in life, and if you're just joining me, what I talked about earlier is that when a planet goes into a constellation over and over and over again, you will see the same energy repeat itself. And so the last time Mars was in the sign of Pisces was December 19th through January 27th of 2017. And before that, it was January 12th through February 19th, 2015. So if you were to look back at your calendars and you would see, oh yeah, I was focused on this, or this is what was happening in my life at that time. Now you can start to predict that the next time that Mars moves into the sign of Pisces, it could be similar, but you now have an awareness of what not to do and what you can do to help you motivate yourself to get to that place that you want to go. So Christine says, wow, I had been meditating earlier. The words be aware of what you ask for came to me. Awesome. Yes. So be aware, because what you ask for, you'll eventually get. Now, some people say, oh, I wish I had $1 million, wish I had $1 million. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. This is about honing your intuition, training your body, mind, spirit to work together as a team so that you can become more aware of the present moment, because that's the only thing that exists is right now. Right now. Even in the replay while you're watching this. Now is it. Now is it. You've had past experience that's left you feeling hurt, wounded, angry, frustrated, jubilant, happy, sentimental, romantic. You feel everything. And so it stands to reason that if you don't change a pattern, if you don't change the neurons in your brain, nothing will change as you move forward. Now, it might take time, so you have to be patient. And if your body's healing something, a thyroid issue, an adrenal issue, a broken bone, if you had amalgams in your teeth and you had those removed, expect to go through a detox period over 6 months' time where you start to feel really upset, angry, depressed. I mean, like all the toxins are coming out. So when you're physically, biologically detoxing, it takes time. It took a while to build up to the issue. Now it's got to take a while for your body to let it go. And then what happens, as I said, with Pisces, which is guided by Neptune, when Mars is in the sign of Pisces, magical things can happen. You could get a reading and suddenly your mind is blown. You can hear this and go, oh, wow, I just did a meditation this morning. What a coincidence. Okay. Your needs are always going to be met. During Mars in Pisces period, between November 15th, add a few days prior, and then post December 31st, you're going to have this sense of connectedness to something other. And you might just be standing outside or walking down the block and people are walking past you as usual, maybe on your way to work or, back to your car after dinner. And suddenly there's an awareness of you being part of the whole, the connectedness to all things, because you are pure conscious love. And it might just blow your mind. Who's to say? Mars in Pisces. Meditate, mediate your extremes, allow, and do something a little different that helps you to feel more magical. And it can be movies too. Remember, you can get lost in some movies or the show Lost itself or anything that helps you to feel like, There's a story I want to tell, and write it down. Maybe it's a blog you want to start, or you could just journal for yourself and have a healing experience. Okay, so think about that. I'll be back on Friday. We're going to talk more about Mercury going retrograde and the deeper meaning of what Mercury is in the sign of Sagittarius and what it represents. Remember, folks, we live in a cooperation with our cosmos. When the planets make a move, you feel it. When you make a move, the planets reflect that, and then you can see how to proceed and create an intentional life using astrology. I'll be back. Thank you for being here. Be sparkly, be present. You are pure conscious love, and make it happen, and you'll feel so much better. Once again, if you'd like to book a reading with me, click on if you're on a computer, click on the blue Book Now button above. If you're on another device, I think you have to scroll down. And the breakthrough session is up to 75 minutes, and there is a pre-session, and then there's a post-session. It's a full program, and it really helps you to get on track with your karma, with your life, with letting go of the past and releasing what no longer serves. Be well. I wish you peace, and I'll be back. I'll see you on Friday.